Oh, hello there. YouTube game, I went for a haircut and they took my whole hairline here. Back at it again with more dad jokes for you. So I've been wanting to do a follow-up to my Drake vs. Kendrick video for a while. See here, it actually is my most highly viewed video I've ever made. And you know what? Kendrick doing the Super Bowl, doing a fantastic show, I might say. So much like symbolism and meanings. Like, not only could you view it as a critique on being Black in America or the, kind of a pulse check of the culture for Black people in America right now, but literally the whole thing could be interpreted as a Drake diss itself, not just the infamous,
"Say Drake, I hear you like I'm young."
If this video gets 2,000 likes, I'll go ahead and do a video about it. So let me know what you think. Since the whole Kendrick versus Drake thing went mainstream last year, people have been combing through as many of Kendrick's old songs as they could to try to find any subliminals or any other references that could have been given to Drake. The one thing that I don't hear people really ever talking about is the Black Panther soundtrack. And I mean, I don't know why, there's so much here that could be looked at. Back in 2018, Kendrick didn't just curate a soundtrack for Marvel's biggest cultural moment. He managed to get Disney to bankroll what might be the most layered diss track ever made. And he did it while contributing to a landmark moment for Black culture. It's like hiding your diss track in the Declaration of Independence, and I'm not talking about you, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Step on it, daddy.
So Black Panther wasn't just another Marvel movie, it was a cultural earthquake. Released in 2018, it became the first major superhero film with a predominantly Black cast and a Black director, Ryan Coogler, shattering Hollywood's outdated myths about the commercial viability of Black-led stories. And this was even after Pootie Tang, if you could believe that. The film's celebration of African culture through the depiction of the technologically advanced and uncolonized nation of Wakanda resonated deeply with audiences, offering a very powerful counter-narrative to stereotypes of Africa. For many, it was more than entertainment. It was a source of pride and empowerment, with characters like T'Challa, Shuri, and Okoye becoming icons of Black excellence. And then enter Mr. Kendrick Lamar. When Marvel approached him to curate the soundtrack, they didn't just want a rapper, they wanted a curator of Black genius, and maybe somebody who's actually won like a Pulitzer Prize, I don't know. Kendrick assembled a who's who of a lot of really popular Black artists at the time. I got SZA, The Weeknd, Ben Staples, and even South African legend Babes Wodumo. But I mean, this wasn't just a cash grab compilation. Tracks like All the Stars and Pray For Me weren't just bangers, they were narrative extensions of the film itself. Pray For Me mirrored T'Challa's struggle to balance duty and humanity, while King's Dead became Killmonger's anarchic anthem. Kendrick was quoted telling the New York Times while making this album, "This wasn't about making hits, it was about making history." Kendrick's involvement as the soundtrack's curator elevated the film's cultural impact even further. His reputation as a thought leader in music and culture helped cement the soundtrack and the film itself as a touchstone moment, blending the worlds of blockbuster cinema and hip-hop in a way that had never been done before. And one of the first of probably a couple side notes here that I'm making this video, to link back to SZA, SZA is one of Drake's many exes. So the inclusion of SZA in songs like All the Stars, and there are lyrics of All the Stars that a lot of people think are just subliminals to Drake. So there's the first layer. So we have SZA on the Black Panther soundtrack, SZA at the Super Bowl. SZA as an existence is now just a Drake diss. So together, Black Panther and Kendrick's soundtrack became a landmark for Black representation in nerdy media, proving that stories rooted in Black culture could dominate the global stage. And then now we fast forward to 2025 when Kendrick headlined Super Bowl LIX halftime show, further solidifying his status as a cultural icon. I don't remember my Roman numerals right now, stop. Now to me, the performance was a masterclass in artistry and symbolism, with Kendrick literally using his platform to revisit themes from not just his past work, but also Black Panther as well. including themes like the critique of false kings and cultural tourism and stranger danger. I mean, this wasn't just a victory lap for Kendrick, it was a reminder of how far he had come over the past 10 years or so, back when he used the Black Panther soundtrack to subtly challenge Drake's authenticity and dominance in hip-hop. Killmonger isn't just a villain, he's a cautionary tale about cultural displacement. His roots are actually from Wakanda. Born in Jadaka, he was a Wakandan prince that was raised in Oakland, California after his father is murdered and his homeland abandons him. His entire arc is a scream for belonging.
Just bury me in the ocean with my ancestors that jumped from the ships, because they knew death was better than bondage.
I mean, that line goes hard. That line isn't just poetry, it is a direct reference to the middle passage, grounding Killmonger's rage in the Black diaspora's collective trauma. His return isn't about justice, it's a violent bid to claim the crown that he feels owed to him. Now, let's pivot for a second and talk about Aubrey Drake Graham. So Drake grew up a biracial Jewish Canadian, and he grew up in Toronto's affluent Forest Hill neighborhood. He became famous for acting on Degrassi.
One warning though, you stay away from my girl.
What are you talking about?
Ash and I are a thing again?
As a wheelchair-bound teen, well, in the second half. He could walk in the first half, and he wanted to be a rapper, but he wasn't really that good. And as far as people were concerned, Drake's hip-hop origin story really hinges on being an outsider, but then Kendrick flips that on his narrative. In the King's Deadline, so at its core, King's Dead mirrors Eric Killmonger's tragic arc in Black Panther, a disenfranchised outsider storming the throne, weaponizing pain to justify his reign. Damn. But beneath the surface, Kendrick's lyrics craft a razor-sharp allegory for Drake's career, framing their feud as a battle for hip-hop soul. Later in the song, I'll be breaking down this a little bit more later, Kendrick's isn't just Killmonger's nihilism, it's a critique of Drake's transactional relationship with black art. But here is a twist. As I mentioned, Killmonger dies begging to be buried at sea, forever disconnected from his roots. Kendrick's Black Panther disc asks, will Drake's legacy face the same fate, a king without a kingdom? Killmonger's reign is marked by chaos, burning sacred herbs and not in a good way, destabilizing tradition and not in a good way, and exploiting Wakanda's resources for global domination, and you can't do that in a good way. Drake's hip-hop rule follows a similar blueprint. Ghostwriting allegations, trend hopping, we got UK drill, Caribbean dancehall, prioritizing virality over substance. One of the biggest things that Drake and his biggest fans will always point to are the streaming numbers, and I think even then Kendrick might have beaten them at this point. Killmonger's trauma, his father's death, Wakanda's abandonment, this all fuels his rage, but I mean, it really is just a smokescreen for his lust for power. Drake too used to mine vulnerability with songs like, Marvin's Room and Lose You, his earlier work, and he used all of that to really craft kind of a soft boy persona that really masks calculated ambition. During the beat switch, Kendrick's mirrors Killmonger's origin story, but it flips it. Drake's struggle, started from the bottom and worked my way here. It feels very manufactured next to Kendrick's Compton-rooted authenticity. Killmonger's rule collapses because he confuses destruction with liberation. His vision, Wakanda as a colonial superpower, betrays the very culture he claims to uplift. Drake's reign faces a similar reckoning. Things like chart dominance just clash with any critiques that Drake may try to put forward about cultural dilution. Isn't just a movie line, it's Kendrick mocking Drake's self-appointed six-god title, a crown built up on streams, not stewardship. Killmonger ends up dying defiant, spoiler alert this late in the game, but his legacy is one of ruin, not revolution. King's Dead asked us, will Drake's hip-hop reign be remembered the same way? A flashy, destructive interlude? Or can he, like T'Challa, evolve to truly serve the culture? With King's Dead, Kendrick plants his flag. The throne isn't won through conquest, but through care. So here are the meat and potatoes that you came for. So we're going to break down King's Dead just section by section chronologically, not line by line, but close enough, you know? So we can all unpack how Kendrick smuggled a Drake diss into the MCU and why it took the world 6 years and a genius to fully decode this hidden message right in front of us. A lot of this is going to feel like watching The Prestige for the second time ever after knowing the twist. Speaking of which, you want me to talk, I can talk about The Prestige for a while. If you want me to do that, like, subscribe, leave a comment. I love that movie. So probably for the sake of my own ass, this is all alleged, you know, things referenced here aren't really true or fiction or anything like that. Drake is not Killmonger. Any connections within are just hereby hearsay coincidence. So first we have the opening chorus.
Miss me with that bullshit. You ain't really wild, you a tourist.
And on the surface, this is Killmonger diminishing Wakanda's elitist gatekeepers. But come on, tourist? That's Drake coded right there, especially in hindsight. That is Kung Fu Kenny calling out cultural cosplayers who dip in the different types of sounds like dancehall or anything like that. And it's like, they're sampling tapas. When the video begins, we have Kendrick sitting in a really tall palm tree and he's eating corn. Now, this is obviously a parody of the Views from the Six cover with Drake sitting on top of the Toronto Space Needle. I don't know what it's called. But you see Kendrick in the top of a tree. It zooms out. You can tell he's really all the way up there. And he's eating corn. And the corn represents Drake. Corny. And the repetition of this ain't what you want, this ain't what you want, another warning shot right there. So starting with J-Rock's verse, right off the bat, from everything that I've seen, Kendrick was the one who wrote that verse. So in the context of this being a Drake diss, Kendrick ghostwriting J-Rock's verse is very funny. And I would honestly 100% assume it was something done ironically and intentionally. And the first words out of J-Rock's mouth,
and it's like that, little bitch.
It's like that, it's like that, like that, like that. So yeah, right off the bat, like the first few words of the song can definitely be connected to each other. It's like that. Future once again asking, is you like that?
I ain't gonna hold you, I ain't gonna pressure, never control you, I ain't gonna front you, keep it 100, I don't know you.
Those could be references to how basically he's not gonna mess with Drake. Like he doesn't want to fuck with Drake. Now within the context of the film, J-Rock's bravado mirrors Killmonger's military swagger. But the phrase is like that is, like I said, a sleeper cell. Years later, Kendrick resurrects it on Like That to obliterate Drake's big three delusions.
Motherfuck the big three. Nigga, it's just big me. Nigga, boom.
Even the rain all day line feels very prophetic now, foreshadowing Kendrick's 2025 Super Bowl coronation, where he performed Not Like Us in front of 100 million people, getting them all to
Strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
And then after the chorus, we get to Future's most infamous verse that he has ever written. Future's ad-libs sound like chaos and too much lean at the time, but I mean, there is method to the madness here. Mocks Drake's sing-songy flows. In my feelings, anyone? Which nods to Drake's lean persona. But the real dagger behind this is the very tumultuous history between Drake and Future's relationship. Not that long ago, Future's rumored beef with Drake was over a Miami woman named Diana, and this was actually hinted at in Drake's Fear of Heights.
He might take your own trips and he might have some hits, but baby, not more than me.
Future's verse isn't just vibes, it's kind of just a mocking loyalty test in a way. Toxicity meeting toxicity, if I may say so. And the part about fuck his baby mama trying to sneak this.
I took her to my penthouse and I freaked it. I haven't made my mind up, should I keep it?
So if Future and Drake have had issues in the past regarding sharing women, honestly, with how much of a fuckboy Future makes himself out to be, I wouldn't be surprised if he tried to holler at Drake's baby mama and, took her to the penthouse, then he freaked it. And in Future's part, it shows him going up in an elevator with some woman. This is a reference to how Future notoriously refuses to go down. He only goes up. So you're warned. Forewarnings. And then we have the James Blake beat switch come in, the changes, and Kendrick comes in with the final section, what ends up being kind of Killmonger's manifesto.
Red light, green light, red light, green light, red light, green light, they like, we like fast cars.
To me, that kind of symbolizes just the constant back and forth, moving and going and flowing that Drake probably does. Whole bunch of traveling just everywhere. We got fast money, fast cars, fast life, fast bra.
Egotistic, gone ballistic. Why God?
Once again, while technically a very generic line, very, very easily applied to, I would say, Drake's life in general. So yes, Drake has been doing this now for freaking almost 2 decades now, 15 years, especially with how much that man loves to gamble, allegedly. Fast cars and fast money could also refer to Drake's chart chasing and TikTok baiting formula as well. I would even say he sneaks in a Degrassi diss as well with the word paraplegic, which would be a nod to Wheelchair Jimmy. Is it subtle? Maybe, not really, but surgical summer, as we know. And then we have the climax of the song, which is also the end as well. Here's where Kendrick just completely drops the mask.
Fuck your integrity, fuck your pedigree, fuck your feeling, fuck your culture, fuck your mom, fuck your family, fuck your drive, fuck your land, fuck your children, fuck your wives.
Fuck your culture isn't just Killmonger's rage, it's a takedown of Drake's certified lover boy persona, which Kendrick now rebranded successfully as certified
pedophile.
Who's a pedophile?
No. His name is Peter File.
His name is pedophile.
The looking for euphoria line, definitely a double entendre that ties Killmonger's quest to Drake's involvement in production of HBO's show Euphoria.
They say pedophile in America.
And once again, all hail King Killmonger, being a walking hail of a false king, so to speak, a pretend king. But red light, green light, the cycle repeats. Killmonger's chaos lingers, and so does Kendrick Lamar if you're trying to beef with him. Kendrick's work on Black Panther and his 2025 Super Bowl halftime show, to me, stand as dual pillars of a career bent on dismantling false narratives and reclaiming cultural ownership. 2018, he used the Black Panther soundtrack to weaponize themes of authenticity and sovereignty, critiquing tourists like Killmonger and, by extension, Drake, who exploit cultural capital without stewardship. Fast forward to the Super Bowl performance where Kendrick transformed football's biggest stage into a celebration of Black culture and Black resilience, while weaving in callbacks to a lot of the motifs of Black Panther. Just things like unapologetic Black pride and a refusal to let outsiders dictate the culture's value. This wasn't just a victory lap, it was a manifesto reinforcing the same ideas he'd embedded in King's Dead years earlier. So the genius of the song King's Dead lies in its duality. On Disney's dime, Kendrick crafted a song that doubled as a Trojan horse, a blockbuster anthem for Marvel, and a coded battle cry in hip-hop's eternal war over legitimacy. Lines like "You ain't really wild, you a tourist" weren't just dissecting Killmonger's hypocrisy, they were mapping a blueprint for future clashes. By 2024, Drake had been basically infamous for things like trend chasing, and Kendrick's critique felt eerily prophetic. Then in 2024, Like That would later amplify these themes. When Kendrick said, "It's just Big Me," it was also mocking Drake's reliance on collaborators. Even Future's La-Di-Da-Di-Da bridge, once dismissed as just dumb ad-libs, now reads as a very sly nod to the brewing tension over industry alliances and ghostwriting scandals. Kendrick didn't just predict the future, he engineered it. The Black Panther soundtrack, Super Bowl stage, this all became proving grounds for his belief that hip-hop could transcend entertainment to interrogate power, legacy, and cultural theft. King's Dead wasn't just a diss track, it was a time capsule. Its warnings about false kings and cultural vultures echoing louder with each Drake rollout. And as Kendrick stood atop the Super Bowl stage on that GNX, he wasn't just celebrating his success, he was reminding the world that the throne belongs to those who protect the culture, not pillage it. I think what really speaks to Kendrick's talent is just how he can make a song and have it seamlessly serve multiple purposes. So you have your villain theme for Killmonger, capturing his rage, his ambition, and tragic backstory. But beneath it all is actually just a masterclass in lyrical warfare, a Shakespearean shakedown, if you will. The song is a cultural commentary, it's a diss track, and it's a piece of art that contributes to one of the most significant moments in Black representation in mainstream modern recent media. He didn't just create music for a movie, he used the platform to spark conversations about authenticity, power, and the complexities of Black identity. And he did it while contributing to a film that redefined what a superhero movie could be. So the next time that you hear someone say,
Miss me with that bullshit.
Remember, Kendrick wasn't just talking to Killmonger or Drake. He was talking to an industry, a culture, and a world that often overlooks the depth and power of Black art. And in doing so, he didn't just play the game, he changed it forever. Game over, as one would say after the Super Bowl. Alright, so we are at the end of the video now. Thank you very much for your time. Let me know what you think. I really hope that this video gets more than the first one because the audio really sucked on that first video, and that's like people's first introduction to me. So let's make this be people's first introduction to me. That would really be much obliged. But yes, please share, please subscribe, please do the YouTube-y things. I'm officially on... Excuse me, I'm officially on the road to 3,000 now, and that is very exciting. And I also have other stuff that's going on that I hope I can update you on. That is also very exciting as well. So, until next time, thank you very much. I'm gonna go, maybe I'm gonna just upload this and then go to bed. All right, thank you again. Good night. Bye. Peace.